provide a flag for us? An American flag?
Yes, I can. Is it up?
Yep.
Well, do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag,
to the flag
United
of the United
States
States of America,
and to the republic
republic for which it stands,
one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty
liberty and justice
for all.
for all.
That's such a
Scott, Jack's trying to get in on a meeting and he's having trouble. It's not letting him in.
Yeah, I see him.
Oh, he sees
I
you.
was saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I couldn't push the admit button. My right hand was here. There he is.
Welcome, Jack and Dawn and everyone. So, well, like I said, good point, Scott. This is going to be viewed by many people. So, I'm going to welcome everybody to our October COPNA meeting, Corals of Oakland Park Neighborhood Association. This is going to be our last general membership meeting of the year, and stay tuned for some socials and new activities starting in January. We're really pleased tonight to be able to feature BSO centrally. We'll begin as Deputy Osbourne has done a terrific job. I want to say since April or May, when you took over for Deputy Howard and letting us know what's the latest going on in the corals. And then we're really privileged, Chief McNeal, to officially welcome you. Even though it's, 5 months old or so into your new role as police chief in Oakland Park, over a 99 member team. And to talk, thank you for talking about community policing and sort of what that is. And we know you've been part of Oakland Park before being a chief. So if you can take us through the evolution of community policing in Oakland Park and where you see it headed, and taking time for questions. So
absolutely.
So we really appreciate that. And then we'll go on with the rest of the meeting. For everybody watching, I myself am going to have to step out at about 7 p.m. So our trusty Vice President Jeff Barnes will take over. But to our speakers, thank you in advance. Okay. So Deputy Osbourne, did you want to just?
I'm going to let the chief. I'm going to let the chief speak first, and I'm going to pick up after her.
Oh, okay. Very good. Okay, Chief. So yeah, take it away.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm going to start off with saying that Oakland Park actually coming in was ahead of a lot of other districts that I've worked in with their community policing. You were fortunate enough to have Sergeant Rick Lacera here for 30 plus years of his career. So he had seen Oakland Park evolve and really was able to fill some of maybe the gaps or holes that he saw over time in bridging the gaps with the community. So obviously the world changes. So as the world continues to evolve here, we have to adjust the way that we police and also the needs of the community. I grew up over in Coral Shores, right at Oakland and Federal. So I've seen how Oakland Park has changed over the last 40 years myself. The one thing that hasn't changed is the traffic on Oakland Park Boulevard in 40 years. That has never, east of 95, it's never been good. But so you all, had always had a very good foundation with your community policing. And as every sheriff comes in, they put their little touch on what they'd like to see evolve with community policing. Again, this sheriff has a few initiatives. I'm sure you've seen the handout. If you haven't, Deputy Osbourne can get them to you, but they're also available on sheriff.org under our neighborhood support team, MST link on there. But one of Sheriff Tony's biggest pushes when he came in is he wanted to make sure that we were actually starting to get out of our cars more. Years ago when I started, foot patrol was something that you did. Even working midnight shift, you got out, you tested the doors on the businesses, you walked around, you made sure cars in the parking lot were locked at night. Back then we had night watch cards that we would stick on a car or on a business saying, here, empty your cash register, or there was a purse found on your car seat. Some of those you wouldn't really want to agree with, because once the bad guys caught on, they realized that a car with a sticker on it meant that there was probably something of value in there. So we learn, we evolve, and we find new ways with technology now to alert people to come out, as well as we've had initiatives recently. During COVID, we had to really back down our face-to-face communication with the citizens, which, you know, to me, it's been a detriment to me taking over. I haven't been able to get out, have that one-on-one with the homeowners associations, with getting out and reintroducing myself to a lot of our religious groups as the new chief. So, but what we started to do is Deputy Osbourne, and it was Sergeant Paul Auerbach. I'm pleased to announce he is now our patrol lieutenant as of Saturday in the district. Out going to different areas in the community, addressing the issues that we see have come up. One of which out in Royal Palm Park, there seemed to have been an increase with incidents involving iguanas, some concerns about finding dead ducklings. So we had them go out, educate the community, hand out flyers, and go door to door for the proper way and what's allowable by FWC to, you know, properly dispose of those animals, or what the proper way to have them removed is. When we see another need, like going into the holidays over at Northridge Plaza, they'll be out there again during Northridge Plaza, during the shopping season. You'll start seeing more of our bike patrol out there, more of our foot patrols out there to help deter thefts from vehicles and some of the rise in the holiday type crimes that we see out there. So as a district chief, I'll take the sheriff's initiatives and meld them to what fits Oakland Park. A few years ago, the prior sheriff had an initiative bringing education for handling of guns to the city, or to all the districts. We put it out there. We didn't get a large feedback, but we did put on a course that was underattended. That wasn't something that the Oakland Park community had a big draw to attend. So having feedback from homeowners associations, the business groups, through Deputy Osbourne, through my encounters, knowing what our need is in this community and bringing it here with the resources we have is my job. We do our annual shred-a-thon. I personally try to make sure that we get a date that's February or March. To me, it makes sense. You're going into the tax season. Everybody's got all they're pulling their stuff out that they want to shred from the prior years. And it's cool enough where our volunteers aren't feeling quite so much of the heat that we get during a June or July. You know, we have to know what we're dealing with here in Oakland Park as far as a facility or an area to do that. The best place to get traffic in and out is City Hall. But with that, we don't have the foliage coverage, say like the luxury Deerfield has with Quiet Waters Park. You know, they can set their tents up and set everything up under a nice tree canopy. We don't have that. So that's my argument, to make sure we get it in a cooler month at a time that makes sense. Another big thing is our community involvement. Again, with COVID, that's been limited. Unfortunately, the community events, our Oktoberfest, our Trunk or Treat, which is my favorite, have all been, you know, deferred till next year because of COVID. But we're trying to find alternative ways to continue that type of engagement. We were fortunate enough to have the relationship with the Behavioral Health Hospital and be able to have the Northeast graduation parade take place. Had it not been for the community relationship between the Sheriff's Department, between the commission and the city officials, and, you know, the partnership with behavioral health stepping up and allowing us access to their property, that event couldn't have gone off in a safe manner. And I know, Mitch, you were out there. I think even with the rain, it was a nice event to be able to reach out and celebrate the Northeast High School students in that manner. Other ways we've been reaching out during COVID, we've been an active participant with the food giveaways and Feeding South Florida. A lot of that, you'll hear about our neighborhood support team that's operated out of our main public safety building. They coordinate a lot of our larger events. They coordinate with Feeding South Florida to get the food that would be provided or accessible for Oakland Park. They're also the ones who coordinate the turkey giveaways for Thanksgiving, of which we will be collecting names. If you know of anybody, please provide them to Omar. Right now, I know we're getting at least 55 Thanksgiving gift baskets for families in need. We're doing a little different this year with COVID. Rather than us delivering food baskets, they're going to be getting almost like a golden ticket, and they'll be given a location to do a drive-through pickup for their Thanksgiving dinner. But larger events where it's larger vendors that are providing us stuff to go out all the communities, that's what our downtown neighborhood support team does. Most of you know Kobe King. He is our liaison with downtown. So I think that was a great addition because you have a hometown guy who is our liaison downtown to make sure that Oakland Park is getting their fair share of what's being distributed countywide by the agency. He is a great advocate and liaison for us down there. Also through that, you all know Lauren Apollo, who does our homeless outreach. You know, we are there to help provide the ones that want services and are in need of services and ensure that they are connected with any possible services they could need. It goes from food, shelter, therapy, medical. We have 211 Broward that's open up to all of the community. Lauren is like the 211 for the homeless community out there. And you know, it's unfortunate during COVID, we are seeing a lot more on the street corners and everything here. We're doing the best to ensure that they're getting the services, but also respect some of the ordinance that Oakland Park has in place about roadside soliciting. But, you know, homelessness is not a crime, and we have to do it within the confines of the law, because if you look up some of the lawsuits that have come from wrongfully enforcing homelessness and trying to treat it as if it was a crime, it's resulted in huge lawsuits. So we do what we can through our outreach. And I think if you drive to the borders of Oakland Park, you will see we are much more successful than some of our neighbors. Other outreach efforts, like I already mentioned, we have our annual holiday giveaways. I know as Christmas approaches, we usually do a bike giveaway. On the note of bikes, I would like to give kudos to Deputy Osbourne. I know it was highly publicized that there was a young man that was involved in a hit and run over off of 34th Court. Fortunately, it was he was minor injuries, and unfortunately, we still haven't been able to find the offender. But with Deputy Osbourne's community connections, in the COVID times where bikes are extremely scarce, he was able to acquire one, and we could replace the young man's bike. You know, if anything, turn a very bad experience into something a little less negative for him. At least he wasn't out a bike, and hopefully was brave enough to get back out there and ride with Dad again. Another aspect is also our elderly assistance. As I mentioned before, we do education. At least once or twice a year, usually AARP will put on a safe driving class for the seniors. And that, first and foremost, not only provides them an extra level of education, but usually gets them a discount on their car insurance if they attend one of these safe driving courses. We are an active participant in that. That was something else that, like I said, Rick Lacera, and you guys all remember, and ladies all remember, Ira Rubenstein brought to the city, and we've continued moving that forward. another kudos for Deputy Osbourne. As you all know, he formerly was the school resource officer over at Rickards. One of the programs that is part of our outreach he was able to put together was a cadet program over there. Our Explorer program starts when a child usually ages up into high school. But what we wanted to do is start preparing them for participation in our Explorer program at an earlier age, start giving them some of the responsibilities and predecessors that they would need to be successful, not only in the program, but in life. You know, start teaching them some management skills with their time, holding them accountable for their grades, their attendance, and all the things that would make them a better candidate for the Explorer program. But, you know, just like I said, make it successful in life. And that was brought on by Deputy Osbourne. I know we have a new deputy over at Rickards now, Deputy Amparo. I have no doubt that she will not continue, that she will continue that program and make it flourish because she does have a passion. She teaches martial arts to kids right now. So I know a cadet program is right up her alley. And a lot of other programs we bring to the community, Stop the Bleed kits, you know, post the MSD tragedy, a lot of businesses would start calling us. They wanted us to come do a walkthrough of, you know, if they had an active shooter in their facility to teach their employees. So with that need, we realized there was that need. Deputy Howard and Deputy Apollo were both trained. They can go out into the community now and give those presentations to some of our larger businesses that are in need, some of our smaller businesses. You know, I could go on and on with the different programs that I could bring or that we do bring. And like I said, we try to pick and choose and tailor them to what we see the community in Oakland Park needs. I think you can all agree that Oakland Park is unique, and some of the programs we would bring here might not be something that we brought out to North Lauderdale. However, North Lauderdale might have programs that, you know, suit their community but don't suit us. So it's, like I said, it's this type of engagement that we find out exactly which programs that we can offer are suited for the community here, and to have that open relationship. That's one of my biggest things is I will put it out there. I'm not on social media. I know a lot of complaints come out through social media. I appreciate when somebody sends me an email saying this is out there on social media, so we can address what's being said, what's true, what's false, or if there's something out there that we need to address. You know, we need that open line of communication. A lot of falsehoods can go out on social media. A lot of things can be twisted. And our community outreach with Deputy Osbourne, our community outreach with Deputy Howard in his role as the liaison with code enforcement, and my email right on the website is how we resolve community issues. To say we're not accessible, I'm gonna, you know, be upset because I personally put that out there. I think Mitch will be quick to say that if you send me an email, I am quick to respond, or I will at least acknowledge it and let you know who will be getting back to you immediately. I think that is one of the most important things, is to make sure people are acknowledged. I hear you. Sometimes you might not like the outcome of a situation, but we're always there to discuss it and to explain to you why we did what we did or why we couldn't do what you'd like to see done. And that's how problems get solved creatively as well. So I'm always open to any ideas that the community brings forward. And if there's something you all would like to see in this community that we can either bring as the Sheriff's Department, or if you think that we may even be of assistance to facilitate it from another angle, you know, we will be your law enforcement advocates here to make sure Oakland Park is the community that you want it to see. And that I can tell you, I want it to be, because like I said, I grew up in Coral Shores. When you're 10 years old, you don't know that the south side of Oakland Park Boulevard and the north side aren't the same cities. You know, I went to the Coral Ridge movie theater. I tested for the police academy and trained over at Juicy Park on the runner's course there to get myself in shape. So to me, Oakland Park is my hometown. I do care about it, and I want to make sure that it doesn't just stay the same, it continues to improve. And as we see some of the developments go in, we can work our way of policing into what Oakland Park continues to evolve into. So, and I'll end with that. If you all have any questions, I'm more than happy to help try to answer them for you.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Chief. So we'll open it up to some questions and comments. Jack?
Am I good? I'm not muted. Thanks for all the context and all the various social programs that you all do. It's just wonderful. I didn't know about all that. I'm just wondering, I've done the AARP safe driving course several times, but how do I think it's about time I need to do it again. I think it's good only for 3 years. So how does one go about doing that?
We are trying to work out a COVID safe way of getting that accomplished at this point in time, because AARP is parenting over the course. Like I said, we're trying to work out some nuances with them, because in all honesty, we don't know how long COVID's going to be around. And it is something we'd like to bring back to the community. So we're trying to see if this is something that we could host virtually and move forward with them at that. But the kinks have not been worked out at this point in time. But as soon as they are, I will make sure that Deputy Osbourne gets it out, and I can also get it out to Mitch to make sure all of COPNA is aware.
Great. So it's not available right now.
Not that I'm aware of. I've not received any correspondence with them saying that they want to liaison with us virtually at this point.
And that's not just true for Oakland Park, but to your knowledge generally.
Correct. But if I find out otherwise, Deputy Osbourne will be on that project tomorrow morning to touch base with them again.
All right. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. You definitely covered a lot of information. Some I knew, some I didn't know. And just for, you guys for being such a great police department. I mean, you see in the news what's going on around the country, and that we have the relationship with our police officers that we do says a lot. And it's not because of what's going on in the news, because it's always been like that as long as I've lived here. So thank you. Thank you for your
Well, thank you. And the one thing that I will let you all know is I try to make sure that the new deputies we get in and our new hires, if I find out that I have somebody who has a tie to Oakland Park, their family lives here, they were raised here, they were an explorer with our program, I think Omar will tell you that I'm tenacious with our downtown command to make sure that I get that person here. Because I do think it's important that somebody has a tie to the community. Does that always happen? No. Does that mean that a deputy who doesn't live or have a tie to Oakland Park's not going to be a fantastic deputy? No. But the likelihood of them actually going out there and policing how they would want to see their own neighborhood policed stands true. And, I've been very successful at that. Recently we've had, I want to say at least 5 or 6 of our new hires have all either lived in the city, or Deputy Tubergen went through our community explorer program, and she's back here now after being a detention deputy for a couple years. So I think that's truly important to make sure that Oakland Park has their hometown police department, even if the services are provided by the sheriff's department. I want, Oakland Park to know that my goal is to make you think just because we wear green doesn't mean we don't belong to Oakland Park.
Very good.
Right. Are there other questions or comments? I have one, but I'll wait till others.
Oh, I would just say that, yes, thank you for everything you guys do. I've been here 20 years, always had, great relationships with the police, and I miss Ira. He was
He's
such
back.
a great. He's back.
Ira is back in a reserve status. So he works. Yes, he works. He can't work more than 19 hours a week.
Oh.
But that was another thing that was a positive from COVID, because in retirement he had been working over at Cardinal Gibbons Security. But with the school being closed, he couldn't sit at home, so he came back as a reserve deputy. And this is the only district he wants to do his reserve hours in. So that speaks volumes as well.
Yes, because he's a man about town.
Yes, he is.
To see him, and I have always gotten, anytime I have emailed, which hasn't been that often, but anytime I have emailed Deputy Howard, I think I might have emailed you once. I've always gotten a response back same day. And so I think that your responses and availability to the community is great in my experience.
Oh, thank you. And like I said, that's one of our goals. I might not be able to solve your problem, but I will acknowledge receipt and make sure that we start dealing with whatever the issue is at the earliest possible point.
Great, thank you.
Joanne?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo Jeff's comment too. Anytime I did email Omar, and he was right on it with his response, and it was a very thorough and detailed response. So I really appreciated that very much. I just had one quick question about the election. So we have Gregory Tony is, running for re-election, and we have some other people. So if potentially he doesn't win, what's your thoughts? Is that going to change your guys' role here, your department? Any ideas or thoughts on that?
Well, I've been with the sheriff's department since 1999. Ken Jenny was sheriff then. We went through Lamberti, Scott Israel. My aunt worked here even before that, way back into the Bob Butterworth days. Like I mentioned, as far as how our district operates, what changes a lot is the logo, and maybe some of our initiatives or some of the programs we deliver. When we get a new sheriff, it does usually change some of our upper administration downtown. So there's also a lot of movement. I mean, you saw that when Scott Israel retired, there was a handful of people who left or were terminated, and Sheriff Tony brought in people or promoted people from within that he felt were capable and competent to hold the positions to move the agency forward. So there will be minor changes, but the way we police Oakland Park, your day-to-day service, the deputies that are here, and what we do 24/7, 7 days, or how we deliver our services really doesn't change. Like I said, some of the programs, some of the initiatives may change, but how it affects really me as a captain on down to the patrol deputies doesn't really change. We still answer the same calls for service that come in. Those don't stop. We get 13 to 1400 a month, and our deputies will still be out there responding to calls. The laws haven't changed, so they'll still be handling everything the same way they always have. And like I said, that's my job, is to keep the deputies in the community, not to worry about the politics, because their duties are the same.
Great, thank you. Dawn, did you have any questions or comments for the chief?
Dawn is having a challenge. Dawn, text me if you have something you want to say. She texted me a little while ago saying that she's having problems unmuting herself and getting her video up. And I've been trying to unmute her since I'm the host.
Okay.
And
right.
I've been unsuccessful at it.
Okay.
But she's
Jack,
texting me.
Does that mean you're a poor host, Scott?
Actually, let me make her a co-host. Let's see if she can get on then.
Jack, did I see your hand again?
Yeah, I just wanted to give everyone else a chance first, but I just wanted to say my experience throughout the almost 20 years that I've lived in Oakland Park. I think it's 19 actually. My experience with the police force here, with the sheriff's department and representatives when I've needed a problem, when I've had a problem, they have been so responsive. I mean, this was, God, at least 10 years ago in my house, my former house. There was some issue, I don't remember what it was, but a prowler or something. They were there like lickety split, and they were just so engaging and so wanting to be reassuring and telling me what the strategy was going to be, what they were going to do. And so I hear about these, you know, mixed things, you know, some very positive, but some not very positive about policing in other communities across the country. And I'm just so thankful that we're here. And I'm so thankful that you and all your force are here. I just never heard of any kind of problems like we hear going around the country. So I deeply, deeply thank you.
And you know, I appreciate that. A lot of it does go in having the right people in this job and making sure that, you know, the new people coming in, our new deputies, have that same mentality. Anybody who is in the workforce these days, as a manager, as a business owner, you can tell the difference between the different generations, the boomers and the Gen Xers, and you know that there's different things that motivate the workforce. And I think, you know, as we move into this next generation, we've just got to make sure that we're hiring the right people. And when we don't have the right people, I can tell you, when I was the lieutenant here and former Captain Huberg was here, there was more than one or two trainees that didn't make it off of training. And unfortunately, we had to let them go from the agency, but they were not somebody that I think was deserving of the title they were holding as a deputy here. They just weren't cutting it. Just recently, we got another one that was a transfer in from another district. Some of the traits and behaviors that I saw, we documented. He was reprimanded, and fortunately, I told him he might be a good fit, and he got fantastic reviews from another district, but he is not a good fit for our Oakland Park Command, and he was since moved out. So like I said before, I take it personal. I want to make sure that the deputies out there represent me, represent what I believe in, and that, you know, we all have bad days. And so if you do end up having an encounter with a deputy, I put it out to the community. Let me know if you had a bad encounter. If you have an issue with one of my deputies, it might be a bad day. We have the same problems that the rest of the world has. We go home, we have fights with our partners, we have kids that are acting out. You know, we get in car accidents, we get our homeowners insurance canceled. All those same problems that the rest of the world has can cause a deputy to have an off day. But we also have a high rate of suicide in this profession as well. So if I have a deputy that the community tells me has 2 or 3 or 4 bad days in a row, or we notice a change in their behavior, that's something that I need to make sure that we address and get them the proper help too. So, you know, I expect not only the community to tell me if I have a bad deputy out there, but it could be for other reasons that I need to address. So I welcome even the bad comments. Please keep me informed.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure it does also depend on the staff that you have, but the leader sets the tone. So, and I thought the world of Al Hubrick. I mean, He was just wonderful. And I don't know you that well, but I hear wonderful things. So I'm just based on what you're saying, I think that we have good leadership. So I'm thrilled about that. My quick question, last thing is, has there been any kind of outreach, or maybe you cover this in the programs you're talking about, but has there been any kind of outreach or liaison or something to deal with minority communities here to help with minority members of minority communities see the police as partners rather than threats or potential oppressors. Is there any kind of program or liaison or that position?
Well, I think that's not only does that fall on our patrol deputies day to day with the encounters they have out in the streets with the youth, and stopping when the courts were open, they could stop and play basketball and show them a little more that we're not just a youth.
Great.
Deputy Osbourne, our SROs with their interactions with the students in the school. You've probably heard, or I know, Jack, you're usually very active at the commission meetings, and I don't know if you were on the meeting a few months ago where the sheriff attended virtually and did a presentation, but he's got programs in place, and it's actually it's part of this flyer, if I could find where, but we have summer programs now for the youth. We have internship programs. They have started even in our fire department, although it's not Oakland Park, but the Broward County Fire Department that's part of the Sheriff's Department. They now too have a cadet program to try to pull the youth in early to get familiar with us. We recently started back up our Citizens Police Academy. That's opened up to all ages as well to start bringing the youth back in. And we actively as Oakland Park try to engage the children at all of our community events. Another one that was canceled was our night out on crime with our bike rodeo. We try to take advantage of every community event that we can get to get out there in the community.
And I think those personal relationships go so far. They go, and I mean positively, they go very far in creating the kind of rapport and trust. So thank you.
A couple quick things, and to go on to what Jack was just saying and what you were saying. I'm the president of a youth nonprofit organization, and we were a recipient of the BSO, the LETF funds, and we were on a call with I think 50 to 60 other agencies that received monies from BSO, and the majority of them were all youth programs. I mean, there was a lot of others, but there was a lot of money that was shelled out, and it was just, and Tony Gregory was part of each and every conversation, did a personal introduction with everybody on the call. It was really refreshing to see.
And along with that, not just the youth, but we do have a large LGBT community here in Oakland Park. One of my reasons for fighting to keep now Lieutenant Auerbach in Oakland Park is, because he's been such a great liaison to that community, not just here in Oakland Park, but he is also part of Sheriff Tony's board that he put together with a lot of the members within the agency from all of our disciplines that are part of the LGBT community, what they'd like to see put out to their community, so and to meet their needs. In the past, I can tell you internally from speaking with Sergeant and now Lieutenant Auerbach, it's going to take me a little while to get used to that, but that population within BSO kind of felt that like they were a little bit exploited. They would participate in the pride parades and stuff, but it was kind of more of like they didn't feel like the community was actually getting the education, or the deputies weren't getting the education on how to deal with the LGBT community. And he is a big part of the contingent that is trying to put together a training program that all our deputies will receive on, how to appropriately address somebody that's transgender, and, training deputies to be more sensitive in their encounters, and, I guess more professional in their dealings with them. So, like I said, it's important for us to keep certain people that fit our Oakland Park working in our Oakland Park Command. and he was one of them.
And actually adding on to that, the organization I'm the president of is an LGBTQ plus youth group, and Paul or Lieutenant Araback. See, I have a problem calling him a deputy, but I've known Paul since he was a flight attendant.
Mm-hmm.
But he was instrumental in us getting it, because he and Shannon Bennett were a big part of our $10,000 grant, was to host the LGBTQ plus all-inclusive prom.
Yes.
Which Paul and Shannon and a bunch of you guys all chaperone every year. So it's definitely, you are involved in that community, and it's great to see. Also, just wanted to mention, you mentioned Bob Butterworth's name. His wife Marta was at my house about 3 hours ago. They're great.
Yes, I haven't dealt with her since she used to sit on our professional compliance committee when I worked in internal affairs. She was one of the civilians that would sit on the review board.
She's great. She's at my house a couple times a month, but yeah, she's wonderful. And the last thing I want to say is Dawn's microphone is not muted anymore. Dawn? Okay, but she still can't speak, I guess.
Dawn, did you have any questions or comments for the chief? Okay, well, if she does, we will.
She can email me or Deputy Osbourne.
Well, Chief, I had one question, but first I'll accolade Deputy Osbourne. You've been terrific, super responsive, attending always, doing your best. Even when that one technical glitch, he was trying for like over an hour, and he's just phenomenal. So of your 99, you're one of the 99 I know, Deputy Osbourne, and we want to highlight you. And Chief, it's been great to get to know you more. I just have to say again, and I think I told the COPNA members that a few months ago, there was a COPNA resident or a Corals resident who had a concern. Actually, it was right around 4th of July, as I recall. And you were available. I'm sure you don't do it every day, and I haven't called you since, because that's, your time is valuable. But Deputy or Chief McNeal spent, it was, I don't know, 30 minutes to 60 minutes on a Zoom call with myself, her, and this resident talking. And I thought that was just extraordinary. And so I just want to thank you for that. My question's actually related to all these programs about youth. A resident in Royal Palm talked to me, and this is discussion, like more details for the future, I guess, but we all know that horrifically what happened in Royal Palm about a month or 6 weeks ago, that 18-year-old young man who died on the motorcycle. And there was a vigil around, and then later, of course, somebody drowned in the lake, which was separate, and just poor Royal Palm. But she approached me about wanting some sort of, like, for the city or about the city, but I'm thinking about BSO as well, and also NST, the neighborhood support team, about mentoring or recreational programs for older youth, like that 15 to 18-year-old. And population, they don't want their parents there. Of course, there has to maybe be a BSO officer, but movies at JACO, maybe not pandemic, obviously, but and the parents aren't there. How does it work between the district and NST? I understand that grant from somewhere, I'm forgetting where exactly right now, that I don't know if BSO received it, the district or NST, for Oakland Park, that Pompano is going to be the evaluator on. How does it work for monies?
Well, I believe what you're referring to is the Byram JAG grant. And we do have one in place that was for this year. And the JAGs are a little bit confusing. We call them JAG grants because I'm just now going to be spending the 2018 JAG grant because it takes so long for them to process before you get it. Oh, okay. We normally use the JAG grant, and they base that on what our crime rate is and population and and how much to slice up for the county, how much we end up getting. So fortunately for Oakland Park, crime rate has gone down from years past. It used to be 20-something thousand that we would get as the crime went goes down, our portion of that money in turn goes down. I think last year we ended up getting maybe 16,000. Another year we were down to 11. Normally what I use that money for is to cover all of our engagements over at Youth Day, and then some of the subsequent community outreach at the parks for that. Depending on what type of age or youth-based program you'd like to get together, we kind of have to evaluate that on a case-by-case basis if it's like a structured program. I know one of my first encounters with Kobe King, he wanted to bring almost like a basketball league sponsored by the Sheriff's Department out to the park. Unfortunately, you know, we work with legal and stuff like that to try to get something together, but liability wise, money to get volunteers to want to do it, it just logistically became something that we couldn't overcome at that time. But to organize an event, like you said, if we knew we were going to get the participation over at Jocko when it's free to open up for a movie night or something, that might be something we can work with the city and the city manager's office and Parks and Rec to try to accomplish, or even other suggestions that Deputy Osbourne might come up with, because he did work so close with the youth. He kind of knows what they might be more interested in than somebody that, you know, is my age or your age to actually get them to show up with. Exactly. I actually know that the young man that was involved in that tragic motorcycle crash out by Royal Palm, I've since learned that he was big into the boxing, you know, the youth boxing and stuff. So there are a lot of avenues out there. I know our Deerfield office has a PAL up there that Oakland Park youth can attend, where they do, you know, boxing and training of such when it's not COVID. So that may be some information we bring down and Deputy Osbourne can put out to the youth, because, you know, Deerfield's just 10 minutes up the road. We may not have the facility here that could house it, but it is a program that we can maybe start recruiting some of our locals into a program that's still BSO run.
Thank you. And so just to tie that up, so funding in smaller amounts might come from the district, but then other grants can come through Kobe and the neighborhood support team.
No, well,
how that works, or
there's nuances when it comes to grant funding.
Okay.
The way that particular JAG grant works is it's awarded, a percentage of it is awarded to us as a county, and then is disseminated amongst each of the jurisdictions, the municipalities, to write a program and apply for it. There needs to be one parent agency over the entire grant to make sure all of the paperwork that goes, we have to do quarterly reports and accounting of everything spent and where it was spent and how it was spent, send it to a central administrator, who then is the liaison with Florida Department of Law Enforcement and Department of Justice on how these funds were disseminated. BSO did it for years until Department of Justice said no, because we also receive a flood of money from the same grant to address countywide efforts. And, you know, the, what do they call them now? Like over in District 5, the unincorporated areas, that we couldn't oversee the entire grant. That just happens to be that particular coordinator's view. So hence why Pompano stepped up to the plate and received the administrative fees from all of our grants to oversee it for 18 and 19. Moving into 2020, they no longer wanted to do it. And for 2020, I don't believe anybody stepped forward. So nobody in the county will be receiving those funds, because there wasn't an agency that stepped forward to parent that grant. And I will tell you, even with the percentage for administrative fees, it would not be something that I would wrangle Andrew Thompson and Oakland Parks Finance into if you saw the paperwork that just goes into managing our grant on a district basis. It would be something that I would prefer go back to Broward Sheriff's Office grant funding. If we could get that approved again, or leave it to one of the larger municipalities that has more resources to dedicate.
Great, thank you.
But we also receive other grants through our Broward Sheriff's grant department. And I mentioned them I mentioned a few of them. A lot of them are traffic related, where Oakland Park, based on our statistics, receive our fair share percentage. Our high visibility, the railroad grant, you know, so there's different avenues where we can apply and receive grant funding.
Great, thank you. Thanks for that. Boy, from finances to patrol. So did you have go ahead, John, we'll take that as the final question. Yeah.
Just very briefly. Clearly, Chief, you have a great understanding and awareness and knowledge of various programs and community needs for various programs. I'm wondering if you or other members of your department are involved in the planning of the Cultural Arts Center that's being developed at Collins, and that knowledge of those programs might positively influence the physical structure there to be able to accommodate various programs you might be aware of, what the needs for such programs.
Yeah, I don't have any knowledge at this point of the programs that are going to be offered or our involvement. That would be something.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that might be helpful for them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, a lot of our larger countywide efforts, Captain Renee Peterson, who oversees our downtown component of our NST neighborhood support, that would be something she'd be involved in. And once things are in place, they trickle the information down to us and to you know, deputies that are at the district level NST teams or neighborhood support teams. Once we have a comprehensive list of what's going on out there. But if she's not aware of anything already, it's something I will definitely bring up to her when I see her next month at our captain's meeting.
Great, thank you.
Great. Well, Chief, thank you so much for taking this hour with us. It probably is heartening to still visit residents and associations, although we're also sick of Zoom. But at least that's going forward. So thank you so much for your time today, and we remain a partner with you east of the tracks here, but a pretty large part of the city actually east of Dixie. So thank you so much, and please reach out anytime.
Yeah, and same here. Like I said, we want to be the best partners we can be. I don't want that us versus them or we're not a part of the community. That is definitely not a perception I want. And I never want somebody to say that they couldn't reach us. You know, so my email is always out there. And unless our server is down, which happens once in a blue moon, I've always responded, and I always will continue to respond. So please use the email. You'll get a response.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
I know Deputy Osbourne, you'll stay on, but thank you so much. And okay, so we're going to turn it over to you, Deputy Osbourne, and please excuse me that I myself, like I said, I am going to have to bow out. So Jeff, if you could take over the facilitation, and everyone, please have a good rest of the meeting and a good evening. Thank you.
You too, Mitch.
Good
Right.
Good luck, Mitch, on Tuesday.
I know. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, sir. Officer Osbourne, you are up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And I'm not going to take too much of your time, but just to piggyback off a few things that the chief said, that's my biggest thing coming into this position is we listen to the community and we listen to what the community needs are, because we want to build that relationship and that rapport with you guys. So when you guys email us, we're on top of it right away, because your concern is our concern too, because this is the community that we police. So being a community liaison, I like when you guys reach out to me, whether it's good or bad issues that we're having, so I can reach out to my different resources and send it up to the supervisors, so we could, one, at least get you guys an answer or work to fix on the problem, or any ideas that you guys had. I heard a couple of ideas, and I was taking my notes today, Mr. Jack, some good ideas. So I was taking some notes. So I'm going to be on that. I'm going to get back on you with that AARP. I'm going to find out about that, and mentoring programs, things of that nature. I'm very involved with the youth. So I've been reaching out to different schools once COVID is kind of flexible a little bit, but until then, we have to limit some of the things that we do due to the procedures and stuff with the schools. But those are very good ideas that you guys brought up. So thank you guys for that. And as the chief had mentioned, we're having a turkey giveaway. And so we're allotted 55 tickets. So if you guys know yourself, a family that's in grave need, please reach out to me, and I will look into those families. If you know anyone if you could reach out to me by next week, that'll be really good. If you know a family that's really in need, we want to make sure they have a great Thanksgiving. Okay, so if you guys email, everybody has my email, so email me, that'll be great. Okay. Chief touched on a lot of issues, but a lot of great issues. And like I mentioned, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of our crime stats for the month of October. And burglary, once again, seem to be our top trends. I contacted downtown, and they're working on getting me a official flyer from BSO to where we have door hangers, which I've been giving out. We have door hangers. It has some really good notes on it. And I wanted to get that to the community, to you guys, so you guys can post that out. So downtown is working on that, so we could get an official one of that. But the crime stats, we had one assault, we had 4 larcenies from a vehicle, we had 1 shoplifting, we had 1 motor vehicle theft, 1 aggravated assault, and 1 residential burglary. And with all that, we had 2 arrests this month of October. So that lets us know our numbers have been good this month. Our numbers have been good. People are taking burglars very seriously, because last month it was a little high, but people are taking this seriously. So people are seeing that, you know what, maybe I need to take the extra step, making sure my things are locked up, taking the extra step to make sure there's no high valuable items in plain sight. So those little things right there, and I'll keep pushing that information out to the community, because those little information and things like that will give us a reminder of things that can help us to make our whole community safe and don't attract any unwanted attention. So that was good right there. Our Halloween is next week. I'm not gonna have a costume, but I'm gonna be a police this year. So I just want you guys to just be vigilant. If you see anything, please contact us right away, because there comes opportunities for bad guys. So we have to put that out there. So we want our community to be safe. We'll be high vigilant. So if you guys see anything, please put that in the community to contact us, and we'll take that up. We have numerous applications, our Safer Watch, and I'm going to send it out as an email once again. I sent out a flyer to Mitch and Scott. I sent out a few more information. Our Safer Watch app, they could use that also. Our non-emergency number. We have different ways to communicate to us to let us know what's going on. And I know Halloween weekend, the streets are pretty much going to be busy. Our COVID guidelines.
If I could interrupt Deputy Osbourne right there. Some of the other things we have going on behind the scenes, we are not encouraging trick-or-treating, obviously because of COVID, but it's something that we can't stop if parents choose to allow that. And with that, every year, we monitor our unfortunately any sexual offenders that may live in our city. So we do have an operation prior to Halloween every year where we go out, we visit them, we verify their address, and let them know that we're keeping an eye on them, especially on that particular holiday and events. And we do have extra deputies out on patrol that are aware of all of the addresses of our offenders and keep a special watch over there so somebody doesn't take advantage of the youth going trick-or-treating door to door. And that's something that, you know, we usually don't get a chance to put out there and let the community know we're doing, but it is something we're aware of, and we ensure, you know, a lot of these little operations like that go on behind the scenes to make sure the community's safe are taking place.
Absolutely. And,
Go
and
ahead,
that-
Deb.
absolutely. And as Chief was saying, that's what we want to make sure our community is safe. And the city of Oakland Park, me and Deputy Howard, we go to different businesses. We talk to different people throughout the community. And we see a lot of people are following all those safety protocols because everybody cares and everybody wants to see our numbers go down throughout the county, throughout the state. Everybody wants to see everybody staying safe. So from my experience through Oakland Park, everybody's been doing a really good job, especially businesses, with following the protocols and stuff of that nature. So kudos to the city of Oakland Park for that. And I know next week is going to be a busy week for a lot of people. So like I said, just please, because next week is voting. So please just be vigilant. If you see anything, just stay safe out there. Traffic is going to be a little bit busy. So next week, you're going to have to be a little patient. So traffic is going to be uptick in traffic. So please just, once again, please report any suspicious incidents that you see. Okay. I'm not going to take up much time, but is there any questions that I could answer?
I just wanted to mention one thing of note. So over here, Cherry Creek Park, there is a house that is, it's a vacation rental. It's a very nice vacation rental, and normally no issues. I think there was a large street party that happened just the other day there. It wrapped up early. No big deal. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because they're using the parking lot at the church as a parking lot for the vacation rental. And there are some questionable people that are kind of loitering around there different hours of the evening. It's just a little weird there sometimes. My husband and I walk every night at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. There's always people in that parking lot sitting there doing something. Some people are walking in the park, but others like kind of in weird dark areas. So just something to be, aware of.
Well, absolutely. And thank you for your concern.
Thanks.
And what we do with things of this nature, I contact the road sergeant, and the road sergeant will reach out to the zone deputy who's for that zone, and the zone deputy do area checks, which is documented, and they'll check the area and make sure that, just keep an eye on the area, because that's what we do. We have a concern in the area. We don't know what it might be. If it's nothing, then it's nothing, but we still want to give it an eye and give it a look. And so we'll have a deputy go in that area more frequently and check it out. And I'll forward that message to the sergeant. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I would chime in on that. The other spot is at the Dewey Boat Ramp, which is right at the southern end of Northeast 12th Terrace, south of Peter Pan. When you get down to the end of that street, there's the entrance to my townhouse development, but there's also like a little park area and the boat ramp. And at night, there's lighting towards on the west side where the boat ramp itself is, but the parking lot and in behind the Apex company, it's very dark. And so we've had neighbors that have contacted me saying, hey, we think there might be some prostitution going on back there really late at night. We have some people that work really late. They come home, they take their dogs out, and they've seen just some suspicious activity in cars late at night. And there's not supposed to be anybody there after dark. So I just wanted to bring that up as maybe another area they can swing through at night, especially back in behind on the east side of the Apex building.
If that's a lighting issue, we can bring that over to the city, because maybe parks can get additional street lighting put up over there in that area.
Yeah,
we did receive that complaint, and I don't recall if it was from you or maybe another resident a couple months ago. And we did have extra patrols out there late at night. And luck of the draw, just like with burglaries, they didn't find anything suspicious during their patrols. I'm not saying it's not occurring. We just weren't there to see anything on the times that we were there. So we'll continue to do those patrols. But if you're saying lighting's definitely an issue, crime prevention by environmental design is one of our facets. Deputy.
Yeah, I think if they install just one additional street light, when we first moved in here, 3 years ago, it was really dark, even at the boat ramp. And I did contact the city, and they did come out and trimmed all the trees. They replaced all of the street lights on 12th Terrace with LEDs. And so it's much better now than it was. And some of the businesses added some additional lighting, but Apex doesn't have any lighting on their building at all. And I think if there was just one street light on the east end of that parking lot, that would shine, you know, kind of in behind Apex, and because I think it's all kind of a public, I don't really think it's their parking lot.
I'll bring it up at our department heads meeting tomorrow with the city manager. And
Oh, great. Thank you.
Parks or Public Works can go out there in the evening and take a look at the general area by Apex you're talking about and see if there's a way that they can address it.
Yeah, I personally, it's mostly kids, but you know, it's a dark little secluded place that they can go drink or whatever they want to do, just as kids will do. But I think if there was another light there, it would just deter them.
And you know, the fact that you just brought that up, it didn't even really occur to me, but the lights have been off at the parking lot. The church, you know, the Blessed Sacrament Catholic Church is right there next to Cherry Creek Park.
Yeah,
and the lights
he's
have
got a good relationship with Father Bob. So I'll reach out to him tomorrow. Number one, to find out if he's okay with that vacation rental using his parking lot. You know,
well, he's up towards Oakland Park. This is in like the back of his.
But if it's still his parking lot, he can still give. You know, the church is very welcoming and accommodating to a lot of the community, but he also does draw lines. So I'll touch base with him and see where his line is on this.
Okay, and the lights too, because they used to be on, and they don't appear to be on anymore. So
yeah, I'll see if that was
you
know, just something that it's a timer error going into what's coming up again, the time change, or if it's a cost savings for the church because maybe the donations haven't been coming in like they were.
Yeah, that could very well be.
Yeah, but we'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Well, I've got nothing to report. I just want to say thank you to Omar because, you know, it's while I've got nothing to report, every time I reach out when it comes to one of these meetings or anything else, I mean, you're always spot on. You're right there with the information, and I hear everybody else talking about, you know, that you address everything that needs to be done. I want to say thank you. My only regret is I haven't actually got to meet you in person at a meeting and shake your hand or give you a hug, but hopefully that'll come soon.
That comes soon. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, guys, I like to address your need. I look at this as my community. Also, I work here, so this is my community. So don't feel no way if you got a tip, just email it to me. That's fine. All news is not always good news. Sometimes we have to hear the bad to address that. So I appreciate you guys reaching out to us. And like I said, Chief got my back, and we're going to make sure that we support this city the best way we can. So we love you guys.
Thank you.
Well, we love you too.
And we sleep well at night knowing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we do.
Thank you, guys. Any other questions?
Just thank you.
Well, we'll let you get down to your real COPNA meeting business. Have a good evening, everybody.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good
You
night, guys.
too.